Hello everyone, this is Naveen Motwani and welcome to my YouTube channel Developer Wisdom. This is a series on Azure Function where I'm explaining almost everything you need to know about Azure Functions, and in this video I'm going to show you how to deploy an Azure Function. So let's get started. To deploy Azure Function you need an Azure subscription and which you can create for free for a month. I'll put the link in the description box. So once you create Azure subscription, you're supposed to log in on portal.azure.com, and then you have to find a service called function app. Let's go and find the function, and then I'll create a function app. It is going to open this wizard whereby you have to select the subscription you have created, and then you can create a resource group. So what I'll do, I'll just name it as function resources. Yeah, it is available. Let me create it, and then the function name which you are entering, it's supposed to be unique across the Azure website.net instance. So if I say my function app, so if it is not available, it's going to say not available, but if I say 090, it is available. Now I'll have to say I have to mention like what I'm going to publish, whether it's a Docker registry, Docker image, or it's a code. Since I'm using the code, so I'm going to select the code. You can select the runtime stack of your choice. Since I'm working in the .NET, I am selecting .NET. I'll be selecting .NET 6 is because the function I have created, it's under .NET 6. You can select the region. It's again based on your customers. You have to identify where your most of the customers are, and then you can select the region. I'll be keeping East US for now. Since we have selected .NET 6, and the cool thing about this is like you can use Linux to deploy this. You can use Linux or whatever you want, and then you can choose the plant type. By default it is consumption. That means if you are executing this function, then only you will be paying it. Otherwise Azure won't or Microsoft won't charge for anything. Next is hosting. Whatever files you're going to deploy, it will be pushed to a storage account, and that's why for creating a function app it is mandatory to have a storage account. By default it's going to create, but if you want to use the existing one you can always use, but it is recommended to keep one storage account for a function app. Next is networking. I want this particular endpoint to be available over the internet, so I'll allow the public access, but you can choose the private endpoints or a VNet if required. Monitoring, it's a logging. In most of the application we do logs, right? But since it is a very demo application, I'm not going to create application inside for that. Deployment, since we are doing the manual deployment, we will not choose the continuous deployment, but in case you want to use continuous deployment, so you will have to publish this code to GitHub repository, and then you have to provide Microsoft to access to that particular account, and then as soon as you give the access, you can select the repository and the branch, and as soon as you push something into that branch, right, the automatic deployment will trigger, and whatever content you have pushed to that particular branch will be deployed to function app. For now I'll just keep it disabled. Tags, whatever you want to keep it over here, and then review and create. So as soon as everything passes, it will allow you to click on this button, otherwise this button will be disabled. It will take a couple of minutes, and for that reason what I have done is I have already created a function app just to save some time. I have named it as my function app. It is again East US, and pricing tier is dynamic, which is serverless. Now let's jump back to Visual Studio. I'm using Visual Studio Community Edition, and just to publish this application in the recently created function, what I have to do is I have to click on Solution Explorer. You can always find the Solution Explorer in the right hand side. If you don't find it, always click on Control and semicolon, it will pop up. Now right click on this particular function app project and click on publish. It will ask you a couple of very basic questions like where do you want to deploy. We know already we are going to deploy on Azure. What kind of function app you have created? We know we just created a function app Linux. Then if you are not signed in, it is going to show you, sign in button over here. Please make sure you sign into the same account which is created in the portal, right? As soon as you sign in, it is going to show you how many functions or whatever resources you have. Since I just have one resource, which is like the function app I've created, I'll select that and click on next. For some reason, if you just created this app and if you're not seeing this, don't panic. It will take around 5 to 10 minutes to sync between Visual Studio and Azure. So just close the Visual Studio, or just restart it and try to re-log in when it comes to login, and it is going to display all the services you have created. I'll click on next. It will ask me whether I want to publish the files or using CI/CD. Since we are going for manual process, I'll just click on publish and then finish. So this is where I created a publish profile. Now as soon as it is done, it is going to ask, it is going to show this message ready to publish. I'll click on publish. It is going to build the solution and first create a build and then try to publish the same build to Azure. It is going to take a few moments. Let us wait for that. So publish has started and it will be done in few seconds. Sometime it also depends on the network you are in. Yeah, so publish was successful. It's restarting the function app. Restart was successful. Now what I'll do, I'll just go to portal and then I'll just click on browse. It is the domain, like the main one. It is telling us, okay, you are using this function 4.2 and it is up and running. Since we already know what is the URL of it, I'll just type this. Yeah, so this endpoint was running, and if I point out some name equal to Naveen, so to say, okay, hi Naveen, this is HTTP trigger function executed successfully. That is the same function which we have deployed, and this is the content of it. Yep, this is how easy it was to create and deploy a function using Visual Studio Code. If you face any problem, please feel free to comment in the comment box. I'll try to reply as soon as possible. And thanks for watching this video. Please feel free to subscribe to this channel and like this video. Jai Hind.